This morning we are going to talk about finding volume of prisms. Volume is big B times little h. When I'm talking about volume, the big B is going to represent the area of the base. So on this board, I have three different prisms. I have a rectangular prism, I have a triangular prism, and I have a cylinder. When I'm looking at these three different shapes, these three different three-dimensional shapes, I have a different base in each one of them. When I look at the rectangular prism, my base shape is a rectangle. If I look at my triangular prism, my base shape is a triangle. And if I'm looking at my cylinder, my base shape is a circle. You know it is the base shape because it has the exact same shape on both the top and the bottom, or on parallel sides. For example, here is a triangle and back here would be a triangle. Those two triangles would be equivalent and parallel to one another. In other words, they would never touch, and they are connected by rectangles. Here you would have a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom. Those two circles would be equivalent. They would also be parallel. They would never touch. That is how I know that is the base shape. Okay, so let's start with the rectangular prism. The rectangular prism is the easiest one, but when I see this rectangular prism, I know that my base shape is a rectangle. Therefore, when I am looking at my big B, which it represents the area of the base, so instead of big B, I can input length times width in for the big B, because that is how I find the area of a rectangle, is length times width. So area of the base is your length times your width, and then times the height of the prism. So that's exactly what I did. 8 times 3 is my length and my width. That would give me this bottom base shape. And then the 4 is the height of the prism. So when I do that, I end up with 24 times 4, which is 96 inches. Oh, I made a mistake there. We also need to make sure that we represent volume in cubic units. So this should be inches to the third. Okay. Remember when we talked about area yesterday in class, we talked about area being in inches squared. Well, volume, because it has 3 dimensions, is going to be labeled inches cubed, or in raised to the third power. Or if it was feet, it would be feet raised to the third power. Let's look at our triangular prism over here. Again, we have a triangle on both sides that is equivalent and parallel, that will never touch. Okay. And so we need to say volume is area of the base multiplied by the height. Instead of using your big B, which represents area of the base, you're going to input the formula you would use to find the area of whatever the base shape is. In this case, we have a triangle as my base shape. So instead of using big B, I'm going to substitute in 1/2 base times height, because that is how we find the area of a triangle. So 1/2 base times height times the height of the entire prism. If you were to plug in all the values there, you would get 297 inches cubed. 297 inches cubed. Remember, because it's volume, we're labeling it in inches to the third power. Okay. Our last shape here is a cylinder. Okay, again, it's a cylinder because I have the equivalent circles on either side, parallel, they will never touch. Volume is area of the base multiplied by the height. So I'm going to take whatever my base shape is. In this case, it is a circle, and we are going to plug in the formula for a circle. So we're going to say volume is pi r squared for the area of the base times the height of the actual prism. So we have 3.14 times 4 squared times 15, and if you put that in your calculator, you would find it is 753.6, and again, we're going to label it inches to the third power. Okay. Now it's your turn. What I want you to do is I want you to take these 3 examples. I have drawn a cylinder, I have drawn a rectangular prism, and I have drawn a triangular prism. I want you to go ahead and solve these problems on your own and turn them into the teacher you are with, so that we can see how we're doing. If you're looking at number 1, the radius is 12 inches.